Preston Spradlin, head coach at Morehead State, joins us here at OVC Media Days. Coach, good to see you in a very unfamiliar kind of setting.
Yeah, a little different look for us this year, but as always, excited to be on here, and appreciate you, Bob, for taking the time to discuss our program.
Your program has been on the rise, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in just a moment. But just kind of curious, it's a typical question we're going to be asking every coach. What's the last 8 or 9 months been like for you? You got young children.
It's been, yeah, it's been really different. I think that, the big thing for me from being a coach and being in the business for 11 years is the time that we got with the family was really nice. I've been able to eat every meal with my family, my wife and my 8-year-old son and 3-year-old daughter every day, and spending time with them. And we certainly missed our players. We were away from them for a long time, and so kind of playing catch up. But to be honest with you, I think it was a much needed break. It kind of gave us the opportunity to reset, reevaluate some of the things that we were doing from a coaching standpoint, from running your program, and all those types of things. So I think I'm a very positive person, and I think that we were able to take away a lot of positives out of the last few months. But there's certainly been a lot of adaptability that's had to come with it, and we tell our players every day, and we try to really practice it ourselves, is control what you can control, and be ready to adapt, because things are certainly going to change. And let's take advantage of today and the opportunity that we have.
Seeing football in some instances throughout the country, cancellations, thing of that nature, are you able kind of to craft a little bit more of a plan going into a season?
Yeah, we are. We've got some contingency plans and things in there. Obviously the NCAA pushing the season back 2 weeks and cutting 4 games out of it. I think everybody in the country, our schedules really got changed drastically, but got to give our staff credit. They did a phenomenal job of securing our games and what we needed to fulfill that. And, I think the big thing is, again, just taking care of yourself and making sure that your team is doing the things they need to, the policies and protocols that you have in place so that you can remain healthy. Obviously, you can't control your opponents and what they're doing, but you just hope that everybody is really learning from football right now, and taking the lessons that we can to apply those to basketball season, so that it can go as uninterrupted as possible.
You mentioned the scheduling piece of it, and must talk about the series and the kind of bubble experience you're about to experience at Rupp Arena. So talk a little bit about the evolution of that and what you could expect 4 or 5 days, I believe, in Lexington.
Yeah, so we're excited to be a part of that event. We're fortunate, when the season did get pushed back. We were supposed to be in an MTE down in Florida, and had a number of games scheduled prior to the 25th, and of course those got canceled, or there was attempts to try to move those, and so there was a lot of shifting going around for everybody in the country. And thankfully, Cal gave us the call and said, "Hey, would you guys like to be a part of the event that we're putting on here?" And our administration was all about it. Obviously, being close, being in a real bubble setting, which just, I think anything that you can do during this year to increase the opportunity that you actually get to play the games, you've got to make sure that you take advantage to do that. And so our guys are excited. We did kind of a schedule reveal with those guys about a month ago before things became public, and put together a PowerPoint and just kind of talked about some of the things that went on in the NBA bubble to make sure that, those games were secured and the players were safe. And we're going to be following a lot of those same protocols, to my understanding. And so we're excited. Anytime you get to play Kentucky, you get to play in Rupp Arena. There's going to be other great opponents in there as well. Richmond, it's supposed to be a top 25 team, will present a lot of challenges, just the way that they play and their experience. And then we'll play a good Detroit team. So it's exciting. It's something we're certainly looking forward to and working towards each day.
I never get tired of asking you, and now I got to ask AW this question. Kentucky guy getting a chance to take your college team into Rupp Arena, that's got to be special.
Yeah, it is. This will actually be my second time. My first full year as head coach here, we played a hurricane relief exhibition game down there with Kentucky. It was another thing that Cal invited us to be a part of, and we raised a lot of money for some really good nonprofit organizations, and got a chance to take my young team down there. And so now we get a chance to do it again. So it's really exciting. It'll be different. To my understanding, it's not going to be the 24,000 that normally are there for the game day atmosphere. But it's anytime you play in that building against a team like Kentucky, it's certainly exciting, and it gives our guys a little added edge, knowing that right out of the gate we're going to be playing Kentucky. And then the flip side of that is there are no scrimmages, there are no exhibitions for anyone this year. So the first time that they see a different jersey will be when we walk on the court, and the same thing for us. And so it all just depends on how good your practices have been leading up to it. And so that's certainly made for our guys to be locked in. And,
what I did want to talk about is just from the standpoint of recruiting and some challenges that you've had, through this COVID. And you mentioned about the closeness together and not being able to get that team together, but really that has to take on a different twist as well.
Sure. Yeah. We really had to do some adjusting. One thing that we've always really prided ourselves on are our official visits. Once we work hard to get players and their families to campus, providing them a great face-to-face experience here and meeting a lot of people face-to-face, and really just offering up that relationship and that human element of our university as a whole. And so obviously with no visits taking place, it really changed the landscape of recruiting. And so we had a couple guys that we were able to secure and sign in the spring with some transfers, and then working really hard to secure a couple commitments here in the fall. And of course, all that stuff is taking place virtually. So the evaluation piece of it, you're watching tournaments online, you're talking to coaches, you're having a lot of phone conversations, you're doing Zoom visits. To where we'll have our entire staff set up on a Zoom call with their family, their coaches, and walking them through our facilities and just giving them a rundown of what we're about and how we're going to take care of their son and the plan that we have in place for their development on and off the court. And so we've managed it and did the best that we could with it. The feedback that we've gotten from players that we've recruited and coaches who have been on other Zoom calls and different things like that has been really positive. And so my staff has done an unbelievable job at being organized and detailed with putting those things together so that we can supplement the fact that people can't come to our campus.
Best team you had last season, made it to Evansville. Talk a little bit about that progressed. Easy question, softball type question, but nonetheless, how do you take that next step? You have some talent returning, absent the mistake I just made on the wrong page, but you do have some talent returning, and this should be an exciting year for you.
Sure. Yeah, we're excited. Last year's team, we had 3 seniors on our roster and felt like we kind of underachieved, to be honest with you. Didn't perform at the level that we quite needed to. The real positive last season, though, is we had 2 freshmen who really stepped up once we got into conference play with Tyjon Claude and Talon Cooper. And so once we started getting to the second half of conference play, we really changed the way we were doing things, from our playbook to how many minutes those guys were playing, how many looks they were getting, how many touches, and things like that. And so it really gave us the opportunity to get a look at the future, at how good those guys were going to be. The rate at which those 2 players really improved was impressive. And we're excited about them going into their sophomore years and having a lot of game experience under their belt from their freshman seasons. And then, I think the big thing for us this year is we knew we would have a really good roster this year, despite, how much publicity it may have gotten, just for the fact that we had 3 guards who were setting out for us last year. One was Davon Cooper, who missed the season with a foot injury. He would have been our starting 2 guard last season, our starting 3-man. So he didn't play for us. We had Skylar Potter, who transferred in at Christmas from Wright State, fellow Kentucky guy, and then Kevin Hunt Jr., who transferred in from McNeese State. So in practice, we had 3 guys that we knew that we could really count on this season. And they're going to be new to the box score, but they're not necessarily new to our roster and new to our program. And so we've got an older team, Bob. We have 7 juniors with 6 of those guys actually being older than just being in their 3rd year of college, meaning they've either redshirted at some point or they did a postgraduate year. And so we've got an older, more experienced team than maybe what it looks like on paper. And we're excited. We're excited to see where it goes with these guys. They've worked really hard in the weight room. Seen guys really change their bodies and their fitness level. And we're looking forward to see how that translates once we start playing.
Mr. Claude, great athleticism, and having to work with a lot of the actually saw some scouts from the NBA as well as some really former coaches in this league. They were very, very high on him. So that's going to be something great centerpiece for you when it comes to this season. Do you just feel like right now it's like, let's play ball? I mean, I'm sure your kids are to that point too.
Yeah, it's such a balancing act every year, but especially this year, with the season getting pushed back 2 weeks, so did our practice season to where, we could go 42 days out from the first game and practice 30 of those in 20 hours a week. But, the NCAA tacked on 8-hour weeks, which was a new thing for us. And so there was a lot of different theories as to how you should manage that. And so for us, I just felt it was really important for our team to really play a lot of 5-on-5. And so what that's done is, we looked at it and we said, our guys haven't played organized basketball since March. When they were home during quarantine for the pandemic, everybody had different access, whether it was, no access or very little one-on-one. And so we just thought it was important to play a lot. And, it's made for really competitive practices. It's made for a lot of fun each and every day. We mix teams up. Because we have had so much practice time, we have a lot of stuff in from a playbook standpoint or teaching and things that we can do. I don't know how great we are at them just yet, but I do feel like, being November 9th, that we've got enough stuff in to play a game, which is encouraging because looking a little over 2 weeks out, now we just got to get better at those things. But, we're making it fun. We're doing the best that we can with it. We try to create a game atmosphere every day. We've got benches set up. We do media timeouts during practice. We try to do as many things to simulate the game as we possibly can, just so that when we do go down there on the 25th, our guys aren't going into something that's uncomfortable or unfamiliar with them that they haven't done in a while. And I just think getting the opportunity to play with each other is really important. And the other part, to be honest with you, Bob, you never know with all the testing that's going on, when you could potentially have to shut down for an extended period of time. And so as a coach, you look at all the things you want to get in, you want to teach your team, you want to be good at, and you want to try to cram those in there. And we've been very fortunate we've been able to do that. So now going 2 weeks into the season here, it's time for us to really tighten those up.
Coach, really appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck to you, and Thanksgiving at Rupp, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be in the bubble there. We'll be at a hotel with only the people in our basketball family there. So it's exciting. But thanks, Bob. Always a pleasure.
All the best. See you soon.